right, everybody, we're back with a brand new Cabral concept. This is episode 3200 of the show. Excited that this is a Cabral house call. So this is one of the shows each and every weekend where we answer our community's questions. This is really what the show is all about. So it's exciting to be able to celebrate another 100 shows, even though this is 3,200. Always a celebration to be able to do another 100 shows. And as I said, this show is really about our community. It's about answering the questions of people that are suffering right now and need answers. So excited to dive right into it every Saturday and Sunday, getting to at least 10 to 12 of our community's questions. This weekend is no different. Let's get right into it. First question of the day. I just literally opened up the document right now. So let me grab my place from the team. And it is with Kenzie. Kenzie says, my mom recently got a colonoscopy and they found very large polyps. They removed them, but they said it's genetic. Any other cause of this, root causes, question mark. Okay, this is a great one to go over because yes, everything is genetic. Some people are more prone to colon cancer or to polyps in their colon. Some people are more prone to autoimmune issues like Hashimoto's. Some people are more prone to Alzheimer's, but that doesn't mean that you need to get it, right? Like that's the whole thing behind genetics. The whole thing is that you don't need to get these things, but the issue is that it's been happening our whole life, meaning the rain barrel begins to fill up over, how old is your mom? Maybe now 45, maybe she's 65 years old. So what could be the reasons? Well, there's many reasons for polyps. And again, this doesn't mean they're cancerous, but some of them could be precancerous. And so we have to look at things like alcohol, tobacco. You wouldn't think like, oh, why would smoking create polyps in my colon? Well, it is an inflammatory carcinogen, and it's actually been linked to polyps in the colon. But really the bigger reasons are inflammatory based foods and inflammation in our gut. So in my opinion, well, let's not go to testing just quite yet. So a low fiber, high fat diet, inflammatory fats has been shown to absolutely be more linked to it. IBS, IBD, but again, those are just random diagnoses. They don't tell you what's going on. So really what we need to look at, what's the inflammation coming from? Is it food sensitivities? Is it candida overgrowth? Is it bacterial overgrowth? Is it parasites? Is it H. pylori? Let's test. So the gut bundle is 3 labs: food sensitivity, candida metabolic and vitamins test, and the bacteria and parasite stool test. That will share with you what's going on inside of that gut. That's what I would do. And then of course I would run the inflammation test or just begin taking 2 to 3 grams of the daily omega-3. I don't want to even say good anymore. Like I want to do what works. What works is the daily omega-3 support. You can use any company you want, but I know that works because I've run well over 10,000 of those inflammation labs and before and afters. So everything that I talk about here today, you can find at our private practice. We work with people all over the world, and that's at stephencabral.com/shop. That'll take you right over to Equilife. All right, Anonymous is up next. Anonymous says, good morning, Dr. Cabral. As somebody who travels a lot and travels abroad sometimes, how do you travel with your supplements? I have an upcoming trip in May out of the country, and I'm worried about customs causing an issue about me packing my supplements, a 7-day vitamin pill tray with my daily vitamins, plus a bottle of magnesium powder and a bottle of protein powder. I really want to be able to feel my best and still prioritize my health while traveling. Do you have any advice or experience traveling internationally through customs with your supplements? Yeah, absolutely. And it's actually no big deal at all with your capsules. Like literally no big deal at all, because people travel with vitamins and pills. Just think about it, like over the age of 55, 60 years old, the average American at least is on 2 to 3 pharmaceuticals. And so people travel with pills all the time, and the majority of people use nutritional supplements. So this is totally normal. The issue is the bottles of powder. So yes, you know that I'm someone who's traveled all over the world for my studies, and I took supplements then. I've traveled all over the world for personal pleasure. I've traveled all over the world, even with young kids. My wife and I have always traveled with our daughters as well. So here's what I do. I used to travel with my alkalizing vitamin C, my daily nutritional support, and my daily fruit and vegetable blend. Those are the 3 powders. I'm trying to think. Those are 3 powders that I always traveled with. And so it was a pain. It's not that they didn't let me through. They did, but they had to swipe the container. They had to make sure that this wasn't explosives or anything like that. But now what I do is this. Really simple, really straightforward. I use the daily nutritional support individual packets. for daily nutritional support, the individual packets for daily fruit and vegetable blend. And if you're only going on a 7-day trip, simple, 7 DNS, 7 daily fruit and vegetable, super easy. For the magnesium, I just use the capsules now when I travel. So then nothing needs to be scanned. It's super easy. So that's what I do. You can find everything that I use at StephenCabral.com/shop. That'll take you right over there. But it just makes it so easy, the individual travel packets. We even have travel packets now for the advanced collagen support. So yeah, super easy. All right. And then they've never give me a hard time ever anymore. It's only when I have the powders that becomes a real pain. So I don't do that anymore. Just because I have 2 young daughters and I know they're getting older, but you got to wait there for 10 minutes for them to do all the scanning and all that. So we don't worry about that anymore. Plus we travel with our little dog now, and that's just like one more thing. So, all right. Hopefully that was helpful. All right. Patty's up next. Hi, Dr. Cabral. Back in 2021, I ended up getting Bell's palsy from extreme stress. To this day, my face is not symmetrical as the muscles on my unaffected side are much stronger than my affected side. I'm assuming the nerve damage that probably won't repair at this point. I don't want to get Botox injections, but was wondering what other suggestions you may have. I tried acupuncture in different stretches, but I did develop synkinesis, which is causing asymmetry. I try to count my blessing, but I'm having a hard time. I miss my smile and who I used to be before this. Do you have any suggestions for me as far as healing? I appreciate any advice. Thanks for all you do. Yeah, this is a great question. So I always go multi-modalities is how I look at this. So what I help people do is try to eliminate all inflammation, like as much non-natural inflammation in the body as possible. So we're looking at zinc, vitamin C, vitamin D. We would use advanced collagen support for the skin, the daily nutritional support, the omega-3s. Like that's what we're looking at, and definitely magnesium. Okay, so we're good there. Then what else do we need to do? We need to see a really good esthetician. Like that's who would be on the team. Okay, have you worked with people with Bell's palsy before? What have you seen? Are there any facial-based exercises? Sounds like you've kind of done that. Definitely an acupuncturist. Sounds like you went that route. Okay, is there someone else that might be able to help? And then a chiropractor as well. And a chiropractor just to make sure that all of the nerve innervations from the cervical part of the vertebrae and the atlas right near like the base of the skull are all in proper working condition. Like that's absolutely what I would be doing. And then I would be doing, making sure I have full range of motion in the neck. And so there's just nothing impinging that. That's exactly what I would do. And then I would make sure, okay, so I know the nerves are good. I know the posture is good. I know everything's open. I'm going to give this 16 weeks, like really a good 3 to 6 months of working on all of this. And then, okay, I'll take next steps if I have to take next steps. So Patty, that's exactly what I would do. Hopefully it's a good place for you at least to get started or take those next steps. Okay. All right. Diane says, is there a way to get rid of rosacea? Yes. And so if you go to StephenCabral.com/podcast, type in rosacea. There's a bunch of shows I've done on rosacea. Okay. So I want you to go check out the additional house calls on rosacea, but I do want to answer your question as well. So much of the time, rosacea can be linked to yeast and candida overgrowth so much of the time. So we've got one. Second part, autoimmune inflammatory. Okay, that's 2. So it's not quite psoriasis, right? Because that would be separate diagnosis and maybe not all yeast based. So we look at that. And then also food sensitivity flare-ups. So, which goes along with histamines. So when we look at these 3 things, this is how we're able to help clients with rosacea. First and foremost, we run the big 5. Truthfully, like if you really want to know, we run the big 5. That's exactly what we do. Because then we see food sensitivities, we see gut-based issues, we see mineral deficiencies, we see heavy metal toxicity. Heavy metals is another one for rosacea. We see the decrease levels of vitamin C or methylated B vitamins. So that's the whole thing. And then of course the omega-3 to omega-6s. That's exactly what we do. And so if you go to StephenCabral.com/shop, you just type in big 5, you'll see the big 5 lab tests there. And if you can't run the big 5, at least run the vitamin tox test, also called the starter kit. All right. So Diane, that's exactly what I would do. And you get a personalized plan built just for you. Let's get in one more question for today. And of course, we're going to be getting more questions tomorrow. But this one's from Anonymous. And Anonymous says, hi, Dr. Cabral. Thank you for all the lives you are changing. What is your opinion on a clean nut milk used just in coffee? I know nuts and seeds oxidize when they're made into oils. And I was wondering about your opinion on whether they're turned into milk, specifically macadamia nut milk. I stay away from cow's milk and almond milk since I am somewhat sensitive to them. Thank you again. Have a wonderful day. Anonymous, happy to chat with you about this. So yeah, actually, we use macadamia nut milk in our family. We don't use a lot, but we use a little. And so that is the kind of the preferred milk in my family. It's organic macadamia nut milk. And truthfully, most nut milk. So let's just go on how do you make nut milk? Because you can make your own. I've actually done a couple product reviews for nut milk makers in the past, but it's not really milk, right? Like that's the truth of it. And so what you're doing is you're putting nuts in essentially a food processor or a blender with water, and then you're straining it. Like there's not a lot of magic to this. And so nut milk is basically nothing. Like it's really not, it's like a little flavor of the nuts, a little bit of fat, some carbs, definitely just a tiny amount of protein. So there's not as much oxidation taking place because truthfully, there's not as much stuff in there. Now, what you're more worried about with nut milk is not oxidation. Well, you're worried about oxidation, but you're worried about the product going bad. That's the only issue with nut milk, is that it doesn't stay for more than a few days unless there is some natural preservative or fake preservative in there. And it settles, right? So you got to shake it up. So that's why it's a little tricky of a product, but usually they use vitamin E to preserve freshness, sometimes a rosemary extract, but you have to have something so the product doesn't rot, that it doesn't go bad. So hopefully that was helpful. And again, when most people are using nut milks, they're putting, like you said, 2 to 3 ounces in their coffee. So I'm not overly worried about, there's so many things to worry about, right? There's so many things to worry about. I'm not worried about someone using some macadamia nut milk or a little coconut milk. I don't have any issues with that. If someone wants to continue to just dial these things in, sure. I mean, they're welcome to do that, but I have no issues with that. So hopefully that was helpful, Anonymous. All right, everybody, thanks so much for tuning into today's show. I will be back tomorrow, episode 3201, and we'll be going through another 5 or 6 questions from our community. Take care. Talk with you then. Thanks so much for tuning into today's show. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I want to make sure that you're getting our daily content, not missing out on anything. Functional medicine, wellness, weight gain, weight loss, anti-aging, living longer, stronger, and all of the most cutting-edge research. And if there's any topics you want to hear, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Take care.